We're currently walking through Galicia, northern Rías Baixas. It's absolutely beautiful. These are small little vineyards we keep coming by. These are just 3 rows here. You'll notice they're growing well, but they're not putting out many grapes. When you stress a grape and keep it well pruned, you can come up with a wonderful product. And these guys make beautiful Albarino, which we've been tasting for the last several days. But we're inside a vineyard, and the grapes are all starting to form and hang down through the trellis. We started walking the Camino in Porto. And when we started walking, we see all these interesting vine training systems called the goble system. Some people call it the bush or the head system. And it basically looks like a small bush you might have in your yard. You just trim the vines up so it stays kind of local and don't let it creep out across your yard, and the vine takes care of itself. It's great for low moisture systems. The bush takes on its own shape, so you can't use any mechanized harvesting, but the grapes are low to the ground, easy to harvest. And some people believe that training system puts out some of the best grapes because it's able to sample the terroir more than a lot of vine training systems. But as we were moving north, these things start to change. We got into Rías Baixas. They started to have a pergola system. First it starts off that the small farmer just let the grapes grow along the fences around his yard and around his crops. And when the grapes got up off the ground, they started doing a little better. They got better oxygenation, a little better sun exposure, and they also stayed drier because Rías Baixas, the region we were in, stands for low river or lowlands, so they're much moister, and you get mildew and rot down low with the goble system. So the vines that creeped up along the fences, like this rail here, seem to do a little bit better. As we moved on down the road from the monastery, you start to see this pergola system. They grow it up the fences, and then they'd put shoots out over the top of the fences like this and let the vines grow out, and pretty soon they made covered tops. So it's like walking underneath a canopy, like a big canopy system. Matter of fact, the Romans may have been the first one to start it some 3,400 years ago in 1400 BC. And up there, the vines could get great sun exposure because the leaves would cover the grapes. It kept the grapes drier because they're up off the ground. There was less moisture. They had good air exposure. And then they had sun protection in these low areas out near the ocean. And as we got into more inhabited areas, they started getting actually commercial pergola systems. In the 20th century, however, we found we become much more efficient. We started doing more trellising, and because you get better sun exposure, you don't have the trellis kind of hiding everything from the sun. All day yesterday, we came down through hours and hours of walking through vineyards, and you could see the progression of all these grape systems, from the goble system to the pergolae to the more trellising and to all the fancy trellising stuff you hear about today. And it was just fascinating for a wine geek like myself.